Well, yoga hour is upon us, everybody. Time to get rolling. We're going to start standing in a pretty wide Tadasana. So, this seems a little abstract, perhaps, when you first hear the concept, but see if you can embody personal and universal. So we both find our own unique version of standing, and yet somehow kind of embody humanity. And then again, sort of riffing on that personal and universal concept, drop into the sensations of breathing. Your body breathing right now. But the universality of that is, now we're dropping into like our animalhood. All the animals are breathing. We're communing with nature. We didn't create this breath. And then just to drop into the breathing a little more specifically, see if you can breathe in such a way so it minimizes the impact in the neck. Breathe in such a way so that it maintains relaxation in your shoulders. But breathe in such a way so that you really expand the back of the lungs, the back of the rib cage, the sides of the torso. Down in the belly. So your breathing just gets a little lower, a little deeper. Your neck and shoulders can stay relaxed for every breath. And just follow about 10 more deliberate breaths. Slow, full, deep, diaphragmatic, filling the backside, maintaining softness in your neck, your throat, your shoulders. Last few rounds. So next, in case your eyes happen to be closed that whole time and transition to open, we'll do our little arm swing. I think most of you guys are familiar with this. If you're not already, you can adapt to it very quickly. It's just as simple as it looks, with the one instructional cue that I do give every time. Just try to reach your arms backward. Kind of forget about the forward part. Let that be more incidental. And when you apply that technique, you get a fairly even pendulum of, back swing to forward swing. We'll cut our 3 minutes in half this session and just go for basically 1.5 minutes of swings. If in doubt, swing a little faster. If in doubt, just go with your gut. But I suppose if your gut's not telling you how to do it, you can always shore up the glutes a little more. Just keep more structure in your torso. Slightly retract the head, like it's just mildly pulling back. And really just get the arms swinging. Last few. Oh, man. Always feels great. All right. And then let's release that. Next, we've been doing this variation a fair amount lately. Just some easy twists. Pose you might see in some Tai Chi or some Qigong classes as well. If furniture restricts your free-flowing movement of your arms, you could do it with maybe some bent arms. You could just keep your arms down a little lower along your side. If you want to modify, the arm can go up and over your shoulder. You can put a little tiny forward bend in your torso. And you kind of like slapping yourself with a little tail. And down here, this is actually how I learned it in Qigong. There's a little, almost like a little kidney slap. Contact, contact, contact. Okay. Last few swings. Alright. Let's come on back to the center. Shake it out. You can shake it out with your arms forward, or hands forward. You can shake it out with your arms out. Your hands kind of shake at a different angle. And you can shake it back. Oh man, that feels good. Alright. And then let's get one leg shaken. So you can really get that foot wiggling. But you can let the whole leg shake. You can be pretty free and loose with this guy. So it can feel like you're just drying off your leg like a dog might. It can feel more like foot, more hip. Play with it a little bit. Oh man, that feels good. And then opposite leg. Some of you old timers might remember we actually did this little sequence quite a bit, this little shakeout sequence as a warm-up long ago. Okay, let's release that. One more time back to both arms. And sometimes, whether it happens or not, either way is fine, there's like this weird little shift and it just starts feeling kind of rubbery. Oh. All right. Next, let's get centered again. Bring the hands to the heart. And we're going to do our little French press, a lot of you know. So arms are going to sweep out and up. And then they're going to press down. Flat hands. Like a plunger, about the length of your torso. Or actually, you can think of the button of the plunger starting above your head. And you're just depressing straight down until you can't get down anymore. Go as wide as you can on the wide, as high as you can on the high. Stay tight in your torso. And then that French press down. Now, last 5 link to breathing. So this will correspond with inhale. And then the downward press corresponding with exhale. Inhale on the wide, on the lift, on the length. Exhale on the compress, on the strength, on the lower. More tension in your ribs and your torso. Inhale. Ribs will splay a little bit. Little tiny back bend's okay. Exhale, no back bend. Maybe even a tiny forward bend. Strong. Grounded. Stable. 2 more. Last one. Awesome. Okay, now let's go a little wider. Let's go a little wider, everybody. Turn the feet slightly out. And then let's go down instead of up for this one. So you come down and then back up. So you've got some options with the arms. The cue that I usually give, so this is definitely one that we've done many times before, like there's a big old pile of fall leaves down on the ground. And the leaves can be up this high, this high, this high, kind of wherever you want to conceive of them. And then you release them. So for lesser squatting, you just come down to here. Get a big pile of leaves to work with. For deeper squatting, maybe you've got to scrape the leaves off the ground. Now, a little different on the breathing pattern. Let's try to connect these last few with breathing. We're going to come up on exhale. Go down on inhale. So, typical yoga breath cues. See expansion as inhaling, contraction as exhaling. But with strong strength poses, where you've got to work a lot to get up and transfer energy, like this one if you're down low, and you've got to use a lot of force to get up, that usually works better with an exhale. So strong force, maybe that exhale is going to help you. Even though normally expansion is inhale with most yoga poses. Last one. So it seems counter, that's why. Now on the next one down, let's camp elbows on knees. Push the knees open a little bit. About 10 big breaths here. Five more breaths. Try to really breathe into the side and back of your body. Keep the neck relaxed. Two more full breaths here. So from here, the transition is going to be fingers to the floor. Doesn't help a lot. Still a lot of work in the legs. Fingers are light. But then you're going to turn toward either leg, let's pick one, and wind up in a lungy kind of shape. And then turn, fingers on the floor, back to the wide squat, and then spin to the new leg and wind up in a lungy kind of shape. So let's try that about 3 or 4 times. You transition to the center, and you walk 90 degrees. So you're open to the long part of your mat, and then you're open to the short part of your mat. Facing forward, facing side. Forward, side. 2 more. Oh, man. If you need a little break, just come down onto a knee for a moment. If your legs are up for it, last transition. Okay, when we get back to the lunge, let's push and pull the lunge a few times. So remember, you want to have your arms helping this pose. So it's nice that they're supporting you. But if the floor feels burdensome to get to, you can always use blocks or support or even a chair. 1 more. Let's come back to center. New side, second side. 6 or 8 times. Squeeze down, hold back. Squeeze down, pull back. Last one. Oh, man. Lastly, everybody, back to the wide squat up the center. Hands back to the knees. Elbows back to the knees. Breastbone lifted. And let's transition up. Nice. All right. Whew. So hopefully you're feeling like we kind of got the legs cooking, hips cooking. Even work the arms a little bit. So let's just march for a moment. Add the opposite arm. Keep the ribs knit. Keep the head retracted. Rest the knees high. Go as fast as you want to go. Which also means go as slowly as you like. You could even add a skip or a jogging pace or even a running pace. Last few. Profile. All right. Then freeze frame. Bias the hips, torso from the hips slightly forward. And then don't quite step. We'll take 10 fake steps. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch sides. You didn't really have to turn around. Sorry, you just had to switch which leg's working. All right. So it's a fake step. Never actually touches the ground. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Release. All right. Now we're going to come toward one side of the mat. Squat. And pick up a knee. Squat. Pick up the other knee. Now, every time you might be making a little tiny forward step during the transitions. No problem. That's why we got this coverage on the mat. So I'm down to 2, up to 1. Down to 2, up to 1. Once you get to the end of your mat, let's turn around. Try it one more time. All right. This time up and back, we're going to go out to like a figure 4. So you come down, open up to like half a lotus. Come down, open up, come down, open up, level those feet, 1 foot. When you get to the end of your mat, turn around, one more time. Back the first way. Squatting, standing. Squatting, standing. Squatting, standing. Squatting. Okay. Last one, we're just taking the leg backward. Come down. And there's a little extension. Come down. Little extension. Come down. Little extension. Switching legs each time. Same exact format, covering the length of your mat, up and back. This time, we're going to do a couple walkouts. So there's four different actions on the walkout. There's hands walking away from feet. There's hands walking toward feet. There's feet walking away from hands. And there's feet walking toward hands. We'll do all 4. So please start with a roll down. Neck, shoulders, upper back, mid back, low back, hamstrings. Walkout number 1 is arms walking, hands walking away from feet. The end of the walkout will be a plank. Okay. Next, let's let the legs walk toward the feet. Toward the hands. So the feet do the walking this time toward stable hands. Little tiny steps at a time. So every step's kind of an unnamed new pose to explore. That's 2 versions down. So version number 3. Let's stick with the feet and walk them away. To dog pose. And lastly, we'll come back to the hands and let them walk toward the feet. Oh, goodness. Lastly, we'll walk the hands up the feet, up the shins, up the knees, up the thighs. Ooh. Awesome. So those walkouts are great. They're great for arms, shoulder strength, good for your wrists, as long as they're at a certain threshold level of kind of strength and flexibility to support that movement pattern. All right. Let's take the hands to the heart. Big inhale, reach the arms outward and upward. Big exhale, hinge, fold, release all the way down. And then extend out, Padangusthasana. So Pada is your feet, Hasta is your hand. So the original name of the pose comes from this idea that the hands connect to the feet. But more refined variations of the pose over the years have like modified it so that you come to the point where you can be here with a fairly neutral back. And if that means your hands need to come higher, so be it. If they can get to the feet, awesome. 2 more big breaths here. Then let's release all the way down, the rest of the way down, Uttanasana. And then shift your way into all fours. Oh, goodness. All right. So from all fours, we're just going to wag a little bit at your tail. You can lean more weight back into your hips and your knees. It'll give you a little bit more response in your waist and your low back. Oh. Now we haven't done this full version very often at all, but I'm going to invite you to take the wagging of the tail, we're still doing, all the way to one side. Oh my gosh. Where it basically just drops to one side. You might have to barely lift a knee. It might modify your arms a little. But that tail wag just goes a little further. Oh, which is just awesome for your low back. But take it only as far as feels good. At some point, you're almost forced to commit all the way to the ground, but play with it. Last couple. So regress back to just a little tiny wag. Progress, you're dropping all the way to the side. Oh my gosh, that feels good. And then come on back to center. Woo-hoo-hoo. Sweet. Okay, let's alternate arm reaches. If you want to progress on this one, come just up off your knees so you're in more of a crawling shape. Last couple. Okay. Then take one hand behind the head, lean your hips back a little extra, and twist up in the direction of the bent arm. And then twist down in the direction of the tabletop arm. So you're banking a little bit of extra weight back into your hips and finding rotation that's green lit in your body. So feel it out. Upward and open. Downward and under. Upward and open, downward and under. Last one. Oh my gosh, that feels good. New side. So I keep emphasizing this because when you draw the hips a little further back than normal, it changes a little bit where the fulcrum is in the twist. less low and a little more mid and upper. Oh, man. 2 more. Last one. Oh, wow. Goodness. All right. Whew. That one really warmed me up. Okay. Whew. Quick little breather. Okay, so what we're going to transition into next are some prone arm extensions. So prone means you're lying on your belly, obviously. And the extension is this down along your side and slightly back. This is flex, this is extend. So let's get belly down. Before your face is on the mat, wherein you probably can't see the screen at all, just take one brief look. So we're going to reinforce chin tuck. We're going to reach arms along the side. And then first we're going to squeeze the shoulders down away from the ears. Down away from the ears. We're going to let the shoulders lift a little bit toward the ceiling, toward the sky. And then at the very end, we'll get super straight elbows and maybe just lift the thumb part of your hand off the ground. Let's follow that. All right, I'll cue it as you're face down, but it's helpful to kind of see it once. So, chin tucked, forehead down. Tail tucked, butt squeezed. Belly slightly drawn in and up, away from your mat. Now you squeeze your shoulders away from your ears. You draw the shoulders slightly away from the ground. You stiffen at the elbow joint so the arms are very long. And probably the thumb side of the hand is closer to the floor if you got like kind of karate chop style hands along your side. And then you just barely lift those thumbs off the ground, arms off the ground. And release. If you do this one really well, so form is kind of like a primary focus here, it's a very powerful developmental exercise. It opens up your front of your chest, it helps to prevent round shoulders, helps give you a better neck alignment, helps strengthen big upper back muscles, works on pulling to complement all the pushing. So we're going to try that 10 times. Hopefully you've already been doing a few, but that's almost a minute's worth. And you want your head centered, but I'm turning mine so it's easier to hear. You really want to work the prep. The shoulders away from the ears, the shoulders slightly lifted. Really active straight arms even before they lift. And then often just a little tiny bit of lift, and it's juicy. Let's try 2 more. Last one. Oh, man. Next. This is always a little challenging with what may be limited space. For those of you out there in tight confines, and me personally here, it's a little snug. But I'm going to see how this goes. I should have really tested this one in this space. But this is where we turn over. And it's as simple as it sounds. You just flip from prone to supine. There's one caveat though. Each time you transition, let one limb be the main initiator of the flip. So everybody comes along, but somebody initiates. So I've just done both sides, both arms, and next would be to initiate with a leg. Same leg's going to get me back. So I've only got one more combo left, this last leg to initiate. But everybody goes along. And then that same leg. Oh my gosh, that feels good. Brings you back to center. Oh. All right. Next, from prone, one more arm, little workout. So for this one, you can have your arms either out like a T or into the extension pose again, if you want to repeat that one and really hammer that one home. So if they're out like a T, you want to first draw your shoulder blades together, then lift your arms. All right, so I'm just coming up so you guys have a clearer shot. So you're either back to extension with all the preps, or you've got wing-like arms, squeezing the shoulder blades together first, then letting your arms lift from prone. Once you finish that, everybody, let's shift into all fours. Oh my. And we're going to reach the right leg back, but level your hip. Reach the left arm forward. Tuck the chin. 6 times. You're going to draw elbow and knee together and reach them apart. Draw together. Reach apart. Draw together. Reach apart. Last one. Six bird dogs on the new side. It's kind of a combo of, well, I mean, it's really the bird dog shape with a little bit of cat and dog thrown in as well. So this is classic bird dog, a movement we often hold. And this is like a little cat, neutral. So we're just combining like the stable bird dog with some cat flexion. Working on our balance. And obviously working on more strength. And the stabilizing arm has to work a lot. Everybody works here. It's a great exercise. Last one. Ooh, goodness. All right. Let's come up to a kneel. Pick your favorite kneel. Armstrong, Pert, Young. I'll take Young. Okay, and then terrible puns. Okay, forgive me. So we're in this kind of lunge. We're going to rest the arm on the shelf. So I got left leg forward, so I'm going to rest left arm, reach right arm. I'm going to bias slightly forward with my torso. Oh my gosh. And then do some big side bends. Lateral bend. Lateral bend. Whoa. 2 more. One more. Same lunge shape, hands behind the head, and just twist open and twist across. So, in the direction of the stable back leg, and then in the direction of the front leg. Let's try one more twist. Okay. Let's switch sides. So if new leg is right, that arm just finds a little shelf. Opposite arm extends up along your ear, flexes up along your ear. Oh, and you go right into those big side bends. Oh my gosh. And then we go into the twists. Twisting both directions, toward the front leg and toward the back grounded leg. And please come on back to center. Next we're going to come to lie on our backside. So we're going to get supine. We're going to hook the right ankle up on the left thigh. So like a figure 4 pose, I have a needle. We're going to bring both hands behind the head. And let your elbows just float up a little bit. Lift your head and your shoulders just a little bit. But it's a whole lot of work. But it's only a little bit of actual clearance off the ground. And then any amount you can control the diagonal squeeze, take left elbow toward right knee. Fade back down. Let's try 3 per side before we switch sides. So you got elbows up. Full effort, but a small amount of actual clearance. And then a big twist. Dozen on the new side. Torso does the same action. Lifting with full effort, but small amount of clearance. And then a clean, controlled, diagonal elbow toward knee. A right toward a left. Ooh. Once you finish that last one, everybody, we're going to extend the legs out along the ground. Rest the shoulders and head along the ground. Rest your arms along the ground. And with a very straight leg, so you're not really moving from your foot or your knee, but just from your insertion at the hip. Lift one straight leg until you feel some resistance. Now you want to feel like, this is kind of a strong move. The non-lifted leg is thrusting into the ground. The lifted leg is kind of active and somewhat engaged and almost has its own little bit of isometric tension. It should feel like there's kind of deep, low abdominal muscles and leg muscles strengthening to get this leg lifted, and yet probably some stretch sensations in your hamstrings. And here you can just switch legs every time. So controlled lift, like it's low abdominal work. To be clear, that last exercise was upper and side abdominal work. Side of your trunk. Your abdominals are in your front, but the side muscles. And this is really emphasizing more of the lower section. Let's try 3 more per leg. Belly stays active. Just 1 more per leg. And then on this last one, just pause for a moment up there. And as you're paused up there with the leg, take it in little circles. Whatever size circle you can control. This will be a lot more challenging, more of a test for your whole trunk and your abdominals and your leg. And we're at the end of the sequence, so the leg's ready for rest. Just to finish it, circles in the opposite direction. And finally, everybody, let's release and swap legs. So this is our last big move here. We get the leg till it finds its edge. Explore a circular movement. And finally, let the circles go in the opposite direction on the clock. And let's finally release that. Let's go back to the figure 4 pose. But instead of bringing the torso toward the legs, which was the abdominal work, let's bring the legs toward the torso, which is hip stretch. Just reconnect to your breath as you're here. You're certainly welcome to rock this a little side to side, or push it slightly and pull it slightly. It's more forward, backward. When you're ready, everybody, release that. 1 minute on the new side. Figure 4, I have the needle pose. Draw in. Same set of options here. You can rock them a little side to side or even a lot. You can push and pull forward and back. Or you can just hang out with it. It's a great movement in all 3 conditions. All right, everybody, let's release. Last one from here. So you're going to continue to lie down, but you're going to take both legs up. And then we'll just let both legs go wide. No? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, Wasn't sure I had room here. So, last minute here. You can have your arms out of the picture. You can have the arms as a little support system. You could have the hands as a little sort of extra pull. So supporting, pulling, or just relaxing. Now finally, take your time. Let's draw the legs together and draw the knees toward the chest. And really just relax into your low back for about 10 slow, deep breaths. As you're ready, you can drop feet onto the floor. And then we're just going to open up into Shavasana. So if you have any little accoutrements you really like to use, blanket, eye pillow, neck pillow, calves on a chair, now's the time to go to that. If you don't need any of that, just find your way into a neutral shape on your back. And when you get there, just settle in. Encourage the backs of the knees to relax. Encourage your hips to really release and settle into the earth. Allow fully for your shoulders to roll back and down. I think this applies whether you're off to sleep or drifting into a Shavasana like we are now. Really let your face relax. There are a lot of muscles in your face. Many of them we contract all the time, often unconsciously. So to consciously learn to relax everything, it's a practice unto itself. And let that be part of our Shavasana practice. Nearly every time we fade into it, we practice artfully, relaxing the face. And for a few minutes, regardless of what you have on tap for the rest of your day, for a few minutes we'll just relax in corpse pose, Shavasana. come on back wherever you wound up there in your Shavasana. It's always such a cool, interesting infusion of habit and novelty. If you're a pretty regular yoga practitioner, it's like, all right, I've done Shavasana 10 times or 100 times or 1,000 times, yet there's something unique about every single experience. So anyway, please make your way up to a comfortable seat if you haven't already. Let's gather the hands out in front of the heart and just reconnect to a couple full, deep, comfortable breaths. And let me say, it is my pleasure to share this beautiful, amazing, wonderful, life-affirming practice with everybody. Yoga is just a great thing. So anyway, thank you all for coming. Namaste.